Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of r/PettyRevenge. In today's episode, I caught my partner cheating, so I covered his whole house in glitter. Examples of how I've gotten petty revenge as a chef. Hope those 8 customers were worth it. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. I caught my partner cheating, so I covered his whole house in glitter. That's literally it. I caught him cheating by looking through his trash, literally LOL, emails, and found some pretty graphic emails from the other woman. Confirmed he was with her that day through his Google Maps tracking. So I got every bit of loose glitter I owned and I went to his house and scattered it. In his bed, his couch, his chairs, his toilets, his clothes, his iron flat-top stove. I know I'll be okay and I'm going to heal. But guess who probably won't ever be able to fully get rid of all the glitter? The herpes of craft supplies. My art teacher always referred to it as art herpes. If you really want to be diabolical, mix the glitter with granulated sugar. Not only will he not be able to get rid of the glitter, but he'll also have a never-ending parade of ants. Mix the glitter with granulated sugar. That's some chemical weapons grade revenge there. He'll be coming across glitter far into the future. My girlfriend had a New Year's Eve party at her condo going into 2022. She wanted to throw glitter and I told her that would be a bad idea. She did it anyway and is still finding glitter. Which is to be expected. What was not expected is that my best friend, who was at the party but moved from New England to Atlanta last November, sent me a snap a few days ago of that glitter. It literally stuck to whatever he had on that night 1.5 plus years ago, made it through who knows how many laundry cycles, and followed him 1,000 miles south. I really hope it was the superfine glitter. That shit doesn't come out of anything. I love it. Worked on a film set once where someone, idiot, decided to body paint an extra with glitter but did it in the makeup room rather than in an empty room. I had to pay 2 makeup artists a day's wages to spend decontaminating all their makeup, brushes, bags and workstations. And glitter was aimed in one place but FO everywhere. Perfectly brilliant and sparkly revenge. Not going to your local craft shop and buying all the glitter available on your way to your partner's house shows admirable restraint and financial responsibility. It was quite late and I must admit I already owned quite a bit of glitter. Love this. He'll be finding glitter bits of you forever. When I left my cheating ex, I took all the good spices. Left him the stuff he'd never use, cream of tartar, anyone, and took everything he might ever even possibly reach for. It felt like just the right level of annoying. Like T Swift says, turns out I'm harder to forget than I was to leave. Examples of how I've gotten petty revenge as a chef. I'll start by saying I take my career in food safety very seriously. Even if I was livid over a customer, I would never do anything gross, dirty, harmful, etc. to their food, and I would shut down someone else trying to. I prefer my revenge to be petty, but noticed. The restaurant I work in is located in an upscale area. As a result, our customer base is full of entitled, elitist, insufferable people most days. If you have a problem with your food, that's fine. But if you're an asshole or being petty, you'll get served by Chef Petty. The king of petty. The crouton debacle. This pair of older women came in, were immediately rude to the hostess and server from what I was told, so the server came to give me a heads up that they seem like a problem. Sure enough, they each start with a Caesar salad and send it right back. Their reason? Some of the croutons were big and some were small, and they'd like croutons that were all roughly the same size. Heard. I put the new salads in the window. One had equal-sized very large croutons, one had equal-sized very small croutons. Like smaller than a sugar cube. Apparently they learned not to be petty, because they shut up and ate them. In a pickle over pickles. We had a gentleman come in and order one of our burgers. He said extra pickles. We normally do 3, so each extra was 3 more, 12 total. When it went to his table, he said he wanted more. I gave him 3 more. He sent it back. At this point, it was time to shut this shit down. I took off all the pickles and scooped through the pickle bucket to find 20 to 25 of the smallest slices I could find. All about dime-sized. Loaded his burger up and it didn't come back. For reference, his original 12 pickle order was more than these 20 to 25 pickles. Could I get some more onions? This regular always comes in and orders her burger with an obnoxious amount of onions. Normally we do 2 rings, she always initially asks for about 30. No bullshit. Then proceeds to send the server back 3 to 4 more times for a small plate of about 15 more. It's disgusting. One day, we were busier than usual when she tried to pull this. Rather than have to keep stopping to accommodate her, I took the biggest red onion we had, pushed it through the slicer, didn't separate the rings, and put the entire onion on her plate. The server laughed her ass off when the lady left, because she didn't touch any of the onion. Apparently she took great joy in making the server run back and forth, and that was a buzzkill for her. What am I supposed to do with this? We had a regular nightly customer place the same order for pickup 15 minutes before close every night for 4 months straight. We hated her because she treated all staff she dealt with like shit, made ridiculous demands, then no matter what, would send it all back to be refired even though nothing was ever wrong with the order. One particular thing she'd do is order 6 shrimp pasta dishes and request 3 additional portions of shrimp for each one. But she didn't want the shrimp on top like it comes. She wanted it on the side. No big deal, other than how she wanted it. She didn't want it all together. She didn't even want the 4 total portions for each order together. Nope, she wanted each of the 4 portions for each of the 6 orders separately packaged. That takes a long-ass time to do, way more than necessary, all because she gets off on being difficult. So I wasn't having it one night. We knew she was coming, so all total I knew I needed 288 shrimp. Which she got, individually packaged in 288 ramekins. She was pissed. She said, "What am I supposed to do with this?" GM said, "Make sure they're all there." So she proceeded to count 288 ramekins as I watched from the kitchen with a grin. After that, she had no problem allowing us to start packaging it the way it was made to be, and even started tipping. They eventually stopped coming. Wins all the way around. Putting all the shrimp separately, in ramekins, brilliant. This is the way. Serving the difficult customer an entire red onion, sliced, is priceless too. What is wrong with people? I humbly bow to the master. Keep training them customers. I near soiled myself thinking about people caring what size croutons are on their salad. It was the most baffling shit I'd ever heard. I swore the server was messing with me at first. I had croutons to complain about once as my salad was covered in crumbs, like bottom of the bag crumbs. But the only person I complained to was dining with me. Former server, so I really try not to be difficult. I so enjoy petty chefs. I never worked in a restaurant, but I have a friend who was a trained chef and she worked a mid-range chain steakhouse during her work placement at college. The staff told her about a customer who was very particular. Very particular about how their steak was cooked. See, they wanted it perfectly medium rare. He even brought a food thermometer to test the temperature of the center. It couldn't be too rare or too cooked, and if there were any black bits, crust, on the edges of the steak, or if the topping was loaded onto the top incorrectly, he had a blue cheese, crispy onion combo on top, and that meant the topping couldn't drip down the sides. The only person who was allowed to cook this customer's steak was the head chef, and one night, Mr.My steak must be perfect comes in, but the head chef was off for a family emergency, and my friend grabbed the order, cooked the steak, and the server took it out. The BS that happened for the next hour was beyond. That steak came back so many times, and the restaurant policy was you had to refire the steak every time, because of the medium rare status. She went through 15 steaks before the manager shut it down, and the customer allowed the last steak to be okay even if it wasn't to his taste. He ate, paid, and left. Then left a terrible review on the website, and the next week when the head chef was back, the chef had no more fucks to give, and there was dinner and a show for the rest of the restaurant staff and customers. The head chef gave him more than he ordered and told him he can either trust the staff to cook the food to order or not come back, and any further bad reviews will mean the customer is now banned. There was never another incident. This was sadly before cell phones were so prevalent, so there is no evidence except the eyewitnesses. The moral of the story is, the staff ate great steak after closing and the customers is not always right. LOL. That crouton request is killing me. I once had a chef from Spain who could be somewhat temperamental. One day, we had a redneck from hell come in who apparently came into a lot of money. This restaurant wasn't cheap. The man proceeds to order our most expensive steak, filet mignon well done. That was enough to set the chef off. When the steak was taken to the table, it was sent back, not cooked enough. The chef almost lost it. I take the steak back out and the guest asks for ketchup. As I was walking back in the kitchen, the chef asked me what I was doing with the ketchup. By this time he'd had enough. Once I told him who it was for, this crazy chef walked out without saying a word, went to the table and took the steak away from the patra. In front of all of his guests. When Mr. Steak asked what was going on, the chef answered, "You're too stupid to eat steak." Needless to say, the tip was shit, but it was worth it. Hope those 8 customers were worth it. Back in the Stone Age known as the 80s, when Karen was just a pretty name, 8 proto-Karens went out for lunch at an upscale restaurant. They had a wonderful time at their lunch, sending their waitress Mindy scurrying for more of this and a side of that, snapping their fingers for more coffee now. Mindy kept her cool, and served them courteously and efficiently. But the Karens were never satisfied and kept asking more of her. You know the type. At the end of their 2-hour stay, the lady's bill came to $200. They paid, then handed Mindy a $5 tip. Mindy stayed calm, and handed the tip back. With dignity, she explained, "I can't accept this. It is an insult to my service." Being proto-Karens, of course they complained to the owner, who fired Mindy on the spot right there in front of the smirking customers and the whole restaurant. A regular customer, a local executive, was dining there at the time, and saw the whole thing unfold. He was livid about how his favorite hard-working server was treated. He did 2 things after that. First, he paid his own bill and assured the owner he would be sharing the story about how Mindy was treated around the local business community. Second, he walked Mindy out and offered her a job. The young exec was my dad, and Mindy ended up working for him for the next 20 years as a trusted lieutenant in his firm. Mom loved her, and Mindy was like an extra grandma to me. The restaurant lost a ton of business. Mindy was well liked, and Dad had, well, still has, a way of getting his messages heard by as many people as possible. I love your dad. If you have a good meal out, tell your friends. If you have a bad meal out, tell everybody. Appeasing shitty customers ruins employee morale and annoys good customers. Eventually, all you have is shitty customers coming back to be shitty. There are a lot of stories to tell that something was created for good purposes, but there are some individuals that willingly exploit that and ruin whole positive side of this creation. For example, customer is always right, you are. And it's good for customers and service quality. It makes customers that spend money have opportunity to feel that some service is worth spending for. But Karens, like in this story, are just over the top exploiting it, that this rule becomes useless, and you start to think, is it really needed so much or not? Only because of several cumstormers. My father was a traveling sales manager and judged all his customers, business partners, and associates on how they treated waitstaff. It did not go well for abusive twats. He just quietly ended the relationship. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and we will see you in the next video.